Sir Duncan McCall.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. HBO just released a brand new House of the Dragon Season 3 and Night of the Seven Kingdoms promo, announcing a couple big renewals and the future of the shows, like the Game of Thrones related shows, for the next couple of years. This video will mostly focus on the House of the Dragon Season 3 and Season 4 and potential Season 5 stuff that they just announced. I'll do a separate video for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. There is literally so much stuff happening. While I was in the middle of making this video, George R. R. Martin even announced that there's another Game of Thrones sequel that they're working on. That's right, another sequel beyond the Jon Snow sequel, so I'll try to do a video for that too at some point. There are a couple new scenes they released with a couple really big Easter eggs for like some of the real big moments that are happening this season on House of the Dragon Season 3. And there were a couple really big battle scenes as well as Aegon scenes of his return that we'll break down during the video. So if you're brand new to the channel, of course I'll be doing videos for all the episodes when it releases next summer. And we'll explain more about that too with their whole release strategy for the next several years. HBO made a real big deal about basically hyping up the next several years of the Game of Thrones timeline between all the different shows. Part of the reason they released these new teasers is because there's a big buyout that's happening at Warner Brothers right now, the parent that owns HBO and thus owns all the Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Night of the Seven Kingdoms stuff that they're doing right now. We're also in the middle of the holiday shopping corridor, which is when brands are hyping up their big stuff like the end around Thanksgiving period, early December, around Christmas period. So people want you to buy into their services. So like everybody's releasing all their really big trailers in the next couple of weeks. So I think part of the reason for them saying, hey, we're going to have Game of Thrones TV shows, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, House of the Dragon, each year for the next several years because they want to goose up the potential for even more money from a buyout. Look at our most popular TV show. We're going to be having more of this every single year for the next several years. Which is basically what this promo is telling you. Like, it's reminding you that Night of the Seven Kingdoms episodes are starting in January. Of course, I'll be doing episode videos for that. They're only saying House of the Dragon Season 3 is coming in the summer. My assumption is it'll be around the same time that House of the Dragon Season 2 premiered, which was in June. Then leading into this yearly release schedule, they confirmed that Night of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2 will release in 2027, and they've already renewed House of the Dragon for Season 4, which will release in 2028. So they're just confirming the 2 years it's going to take to get House of the Dragon Season 4 out after Season 3, which I think we all knew before this. No real big surprise, it took them 2 years to get Season 3 out after Season 2.
It took too long.
Here's the thing though, as part of the article where they were hyping all this stuff up, where all this stuff got released, they also said that Ryan Condal is actually deciding whether or not they want to do a Season 5, meaning that he's waiting until after they finish writing Season 4 to figure out if they're going to do a Season 5. Previously, George R. R. Martin and HBO had announced that there were only going to be 4 seasons, so we were all kind of planning the Dance of the Dragons timeline for what they would do at the end of the 4th season with all the big things that happened during the Dance of the Dragons. It's all been written, so like you can go read the story right now, so you kind of know how all these characters' stories end. So if they're going to do a Season 5, that just raises a lot of questions about what they would save for Season 5. There's only so many things you can push up, but they've been changing the story from the books so much that I don't think it's that big of a pull for them to just stretch stuff out across Season 4 and Season 5. For instance, the battle over the God's Eye, they could still push that to the beginning of Season 5 if they don't want to do it during Season 4. I think we all assumed it was going to be a Season 4 kind of thing. I am still firmly of the assumption, though, like early theory here, is that Ryan Condal believes that the House of the Dragon show is over when Rhaenyra's story is over. Like, she's the big character on the show. Her and Alysanne, technically, but really Rhaenyra. There's still a lot of story that happens during the Dance of the Dragons after her story is done that they could continue with, but I think the idea is that Ryan Condal wants to save her ending for the very final episode. So you just have to imagine how they would change the storyline and stretch the timeline, just alter things so that they could accomplish that. But some of the brand new scenes that they released here are of Daemon in the middle of a battle. This is probably the first battle of Tumbleton, which is going to be the final big battle of Season 3, like the big battle of battles. There's a lot going on in this scene too, this big battle. Notice Lord Oscar Tully seems like he's realizing he is not built for this. Like, what is happening here? Even Daemon seems a little surprised by what they're seeing, what's unfolding in front of them during this battle. There's a lot going on behind them too, like a lot of other big characters. Zoom and enhance in the background, notice you see Tommy Flanagan is Roderick Dustin, aka Roddy the Ruin. He was the Lord of House Dustin during this and commander of the Winter Wolves. This red shield with the white tree and the two crows on it is for House Blackwood. It's a Weirwood tree. The white banner behind Oscar Tully here is for House Daeron. There's a bunch of other men further in the back too that you can't quite pick out their banners, like House Bracken. There were several other houses represented on both sides of the blacks and the greens. It was a very, very large battle here. The second new scene they release is of Rhaenyra holding Viserys' crown, her father. Technically, it's Jaehaerys' crown that just passed along to her eventually. If you couldn't tell, she's in the king's chambers, her father's old room, which Aegon recently vacated, where Viserys showed her the prophecy etched into the Valyrian dagger with fire. So it's meant to be kind of a full circle moment, like she's back here in the same place, thinking about the prophecy, thinking about her father, thinking about the crown, and notice what she's wearing too. There's a bit of a fit check here too. This is the outfit that she's going to be wearing as the queen. Little more form-fitting. You also know the dragon scale pattern across her shoulders, the upper part of her body too, sort of like she's wearing light dragon armor, a more armor-ish look to her outfit. There are a lot of other people that think that Alysanne is here with her in this scene in the king's chambers, and they just cropped the frame so you can't see her with her in the scene. Probably going to get a whole lot of Rhaenyra and Alysanne together. There are a couple big House the Dragon Season 3 scenes, a couple big battles, and a couple smaller character scenes and character turns, so we'll just go through these one at a time. Some of them we have more information about, some of them are a little more cryptic. First big one is an Aegon scene of him trying to rally the crowd after he's returned, paying off Helena's prophecy about how the future would play out. If you remember, she was telling Aemond he hasn't returned yet, as in he would eventually return. At the very end of Season 2, you saw him, with Larys Strong, escaping King's Landing, sneaking out so that they wouldn't be captured by Rhaenyra and Daemon, who were about to sack King's Landing. There are a couple of Darkland banners here that make it seem like it happens at Rook's Rest, so maybe they'll also finally address what happened to Sunfire. The whole reason why there were so many theories about Sunfire is that in the book, Sunfire survives the Battle of Rook's Rest during the events of Season 2, but on the show, Criston Cole's line, "The dragon was long in the dying," made it sound like they were going to just say that Sunfire died at the battle, so we will see. Just because of copyright issues, I can't put the entire clips in the video here, but this is what Aegon actually says. "Behold me now, I am Aegon Targaryen, the second of his name. I am the true heir of Viserys, the sixth king of the Andals, the Rhoynar, and the First Men. I was anointed by the High Septon in the light of the Seven, and it is in their light that I stand before you now." Then he really starts trying to gas the crowd up. He says, "Strike me down, and the stranger himself will take retribution. The warrior's sword will be judgment upon you. Yes, you may well draw back, for now you see me as I truly am, dreadful in vengeance, righteous and glorious."
Righteous and glorious!
You also have to remember that most regular troops, regular people, the small folk, have not seen him since he was scarred. So that's why he's saying, "Now you're seeing me as I truly am," because he's metaphorically and literally talking about the scars on his face, like how hideous he looks. My assumption is this scene happens later in the season, maybe even in the finale, because his return, I think, was meant to be a much bigger Season 4, like final season moment. Just because there is a big conflict between him and Rhaenyra when he does eventually return in the books. So I think they're trying to push that to Season 4, just because it's such a big moment. One of the funnier things about that, too, is that Joffrey, on the main Game of Thrones series, actually kind of spoiled what happens when Aegon confronts Rhaenyra again after he's returned. So if you really want to find out what happens in House of the Dragon Season 4, just rewatch the original Game of Thrones series, and Joffrey will tell you everything you need to know. Then probably one of the other biggest brand new characters that they're introducing based on this footage is Black Alys, Alysanne Blackwood, who's an Arya type of character, like very good fighter who's part of the Blackwoods. She's actually the aunt of Lord Benjicott Blackwood, who became the Lord of House Blackwood after his father was killed during the Battle of Burning Mill in Season 2. If you remember, they kind of skipped over the battle just to show you how bloody, how crazy it got. Alysanne Blackwood is a trained fighter. She's really good on horseback. She's an amazing shot with a bow and arrow. And it was said that she used a Weirwood arrow to kill Amos Bracken in single combat during the Battle of Burning Mill, because he was the person who killed Samwell Blackwood, the former head of their household, to get revenge for his death. So the whole idea is that she's a very Arya type of character, very stabby, and ultimately she does wind up getting married to Cregan Stark. That doesn't happen till after the end of the Dance of the Dragon, so I'm not expecting them to actually do that on the show. Like, long after the war is done, they eventually get married. All these battle scenes here with her show the Blackwoods because they're supporting Rhaenyra. She fought through all the major battles during Dance of the Dragons where the Blackwoods participated. Most references to her in the books just talk about her during the Battle of the King's Road. Without getting into spoilers, that happens much later in the timeline, like stuff they would be doing in Season 4. So it is possible that we're just getting way more of Alys Blackwood, and they're introducing her character in earlier battles so she can be a bigger character with bigger payoffs in Season 4. Then a lot of you who've been upset that we haven't gotten more Dreamfire scenes in present day with the adult version of Helaena the first couple seasons, supposedly we're actually going to be getting a big Helaena Dreamfire scene during Season 3. Rhaenyra is also supposed to be there, so I'm assuming that it happens somewhere towards the middle of the season, like after the first couple of episodes, after the sack of King's Landing, because Rhaenyra has to be there, so it means she's controlling King's Landing when this happens. They kind of alluded to the fact that Rhaenyra has a big soft spot for Helaena, so they actually have a pretty good relationship. So part of the idea that when Rhaenyra is ruling over the Red Keep and King's Landing, some of the Greens don't mind it so much. Then there is a ton of footage, a bunch of different types of scenes at what seems like the first battle of Tumbleton with Daemon, the Blacks, and the Green Army, along with Daeron, who they're introducing during Season 3. This is the actor that they're cast to play him, Ormund, Hightower, and basically just a bunch of their forces. There's a bunch of footage of Daemon in the town here, seeming like he's speaking with the maesters. This is all meant to be from Tumbleton. There's so much stuff happening. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below. I'll do a Night of the Seven Kingdoms video soon, and a video for that George R. Martin Game of Thrones sequel he just announced. Based on some of the actual sequel stories that take place after Game of Thrones Season 8, I think we have a couple logical ideas for what that sequel is that he's teasing. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss anything. Everybody click here for that new Night of the Seven Kingdoms video. I'll update the link as soon as I post it, and click here for that other new Game of Thrones video. I will also update that as soon as I post that video.